Hey folks, it's Mary, aka MercyTriumphs, and this is my channel, Slow Crochet. Today I am in Jackson, Tennessee, and I was out here gonna visit some friends, and I just happened to look, as you do, to see if there was a yarn shop, and sure enough, there is, so let's go check it out. Hey folks, I am back. I am back at home after my little jaunt down to Jackson, Tennessee. From where I live in Nashville, it's about 1.5 to 2 hours. You just get on I-40 and head west. So very easy drive. We were so happy to spend some time with friends there. But before we went and met up with those friends, we went to Grinning Soul Crochet. So this little yarn shop started out with a mom who made crochet objects to sell. And so she decided to expand her business to include not just handmade crocheted items, but also yarn. She saw a need for fiber artists to have a source for good quality organic wools and cottons and things of that nature, and even some silks, some unique fibers to work with. And she also, as a mom, wanted to make sure that there was a welcoming place for children to learn these fiber arts and to start getting excited and to engage with knitting and crochet and embroidery and other kinds of fiber arts. I had done a little bit of research before going down there, and so I learned that Grinning Soul Crochet has a little free yarny library. So what that means is in the store there's a section with free yarn, patterns, and tools. And so what you can do is bring some of the yarn or the tools or the patterns or any other kind of yarny goodness that you're not using and donate some, and then take some home with you as well. Just a little bit of an exchange. It's all on an honor system, and it really is wonderful for people to be able to experience maybe some fibers they hadn't experienced before, try new yarns that maybe aren't even sold in the store, or just have a place to donate some of the things that they're not using. So knowing this, I brought a bag of some goodies down with me, some yarns that I just knew wasn't gonna get a lot of use out of my stash, and also some tools where I had ordered some and ended up ordering, like when you get duplicates of something, you think you're just ordering one, but you accidentally order 3, those kinds of things. So I brought some of those to donate, and I was really glad I did. The big question though is what came home with me? Well, in the store, there were several things that I was really tempted by. There were some yarns by Darn Good Yarn, which is the first time I'd ever handled any of those. There's some actually that I remembered the texture from some pieces I owned years ago. Some of those silk sari yarns that were just beautiful, and I was really tempted by those. There are also some beautiful cottons, some cotton and wool blends, even some linen. But first of all, I wanted to think of what I could bring home with me that wasn't already in my stash. What is going to be a sweet memory of this visit to this kind of smaller city in Tennessee, but it's going to remind me of my friends, and it's going to remind me of this wonderful shop. So I'm looking for something unique and kind of a memento. And the other question I had was, what is something that I'm going to enjoy? So one of my favorite fibers is superwash merino, and I went with something that isn't something I'll normally gravitate towards and a little bit outside my standard in terms of color, but it's more colors that I'm moving into here in 2024. So enough already. What did I get? This cloud of beauty. This is honey and clover knits. And as I understand it, I believe it's 10% of the profits from these hanks goes to help with the bees. This is marvelous, and it is 98 yards of merino wool. It's a super bulky roving style, and it is hand dyed in Georgia. So here, I don't know if you can get the QR code there, but there's the information on honey and clover knits. And so you see there that this hank was $30. So $30 for some super luscious, wonderful superwash merino wool. I thought, you know what? This fits the bill. I had some extra spending money from Christmas, and this is what I came home with. So these colors, this kind of dusty rose, you might call it more Victorian rose, but it has a little bit more of that purple undertone, kind of like a berry stain that's almost faded in the sun, that faded berry color, that mauve. The way that it blends into a creamy off-white, it's not a pure white that it goes into, but you have all of these tones in between the mauve and the cream. So I thought this would work up really beautifully either as a hat or maybe as a cowl. But regardless, I wanted it close to my skin. I know it's going to be wonderful and soft and fluffy to work with. Now, I don't work with a lot of super bulkies. I really don't. And this is really the first time I've bought an actual super bulky in a roving style. So I'll have to do a little bit of research, look at some patterns, but I think 98 yards is going to do me all right. I think I'll be able to get a hat out of this. And if not, I can frog back and I'll make a little cowl, even if it has a little button on it or something of that nature. I think it'll be wonderful. So these to me are sunset and sunrise colors, that kind of pinkish purple, that edge of a cloud right as the sun is shifting. I feel like in the winter months, we have the opportunity to see the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets. So yes, we have longer hours of darkness, but you get to experience the beginning and the ending of the day in such a new way. You're more aware of it because you see it more often. It's not happening after you've gone to bed or later on or too early before you get up. So for me, I think that's another reason that I was drawn to this. It reminds me also of the time of year. At the time of recording, we are in the early days of January 2024, so I'm very happy that this came with me. The question that you might be asking is, did I avail myself of anything from the Little Free Fiber Library wall? And the answer is yes, I did. There were several things that were tempting to me, some fibers that I hadn't worked with before, some nicer yarns, some go-to workhorse acrylics in wonderful colors and wonderful textures. But I ended up just at the last minute grabbing this cake, this unnamed cake. And I didn't think a lot of it until I was already out of the store and on my way home. And I realized, hey, this texture looks pretty familiar to some of the hanks that they had at the store that I was really tempted by. So in store, there were hanks of Quince & Co. marked with the letter Q of several different varieties. One of them was the Wren yarn, which is a DK weight yarn. It's 60% American wool and it's 40% Texas organic cotton. Now, I think that that's what this is. Those hanks come in 50-gram hanks, and I think it's about 140 yards per hank. I did weigh this on my scale and it came out to be about 60 grams. So I have a strong suspicion that this might be that yarn. It may not be, it may be something different, but I think it's really pretty. I love that aqua color, and it is a color that you've seen a little bit in my stash already. So maybe it is wool, maybe it is that wonderful wool and cotton blend. That would be wonderful, but regardless, it's a beautiful DK weight. It has that kind of heathery feel to it, and it has a little bit of the tweedy texture to it. So I think whatever this turns into is going to be right up my alley, and I'm excited to work with it. So Grinning Soul Crochet, here's our card here, is owned by Laura Grisham, and she was so sweet. I was so happy to get to know her just a little bit, hear a bit more of her story. She comes from a very creative family, and I think that she's doing wonderful things there in Jackson, Tennessee. While I was there, folks were coming in for gift cards, folks were coming in to get her opinion on yarns, and it seems like she is finding a niche right there in the city and being an outlet for creative people all over. Here is some more information, and I also have her website and her Instagram linked below. So thank you so much, Miss Laura. I had a wonderful time at your shop, and I hope that you get some new folks coming to see you real soon. Thank you so much to all of my subscribers. Thank you to everyone who's been here more recently, hopping on this channel and joining this little yarny YouTube adventure with me. Thank you to those of you who show up time and again and are just so encouraging and wonderful. I appreciate all your comments. I appreciate all your watches and likes and shares, all that kind of stuff. It really does make a big difference in my world, and I'm so thankful that I get to be part of yours, and I don't take that for granted. You really are such a tremendous blessing. I hope you know that. If I'm not your cup of tea, thank you so much for listening this long. I really do appreciate it, and I do hope I'll see you again soon.